Hi and welcome back to Psych Nurse. My name's Mark Kay. I'm a registered psych nurse, and I would like to put it out there to psych nurses, student nurses, people that have an interest in psychiatric nursing, people that have been psychiatric nurses, retired nurses, anybody really that's got an interest in the psychiatric field to take part in a Skype interview which I'll record. And if you're happy to be featured on this site, you can make sure that you're happy with the video that I put on first. And what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to ask you around 9 questions, and these are going to be 9 questions that I'll keep locked in. They will be the same 9 questions. That what I ask you is what I'll ask everybody. So I won't ever vary it unless someone says to me, "Oh, why don't you talk about this as well and add this on?" Yeah, I'll be quite happy to do that as well. But I thought it'd be really cool to get the opinions and views of people that actually work on the ground and have something positive to say that is encouraging and inspiring and motivating others to promote mental health positively as well. So anyway, look, what I'm going to do is, because I'm not very good at this, all right, looking in the camera business, my eyes keep rolling up or rolling down. What I'll do is I'm going to refer to a pad, and I'll give you a brief of the questions that I'm going to ask. So they're fairly general questions. So the first question is going to be, why did you choose nursing as a career? Yeah, so look, so really basic question. We've all been different people in the past. I particularly came from a sales background into nursing. I found the transition quite normal for me. It's the products that I was selling were their ideas and plans and myself to try and get on side and give people the best possible outcomes. So that's the first question. The next question is, what made you decide in psychiatric as a speciality rather than over a medical area? So, what made you, particularly in Australia, because in Australia everybody is a medically trained nurse, and then at the end of their 3 years, they decide what speciality if they want to and go and do a postgrad in psych, say, for instance. So I know for people in England it's very different. You choose to be a psych nurse from the beginning if you want to. I mean, obviously you can change and retrain, you can be dual trained and all sorts of things, but you kind of choose your speciality initially. And so what made you go into psychiatric nursing as opposed to medical? There you go, a fairly general question. Another one which I've been talking about, so if you've been watching the other ones, is which 3 things do you use every day in your toolkit? What we talked about before, we have certain skills in our toolkit that we can use with people. So what 3 do you think you use every day? And the next one is, what is it about being a psych nurse that gives you job satisfaction? I have been doing this job for a number of years now, and I wasn't always a nurse. I was a healthcare assistant. It was something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to be when I was starting my journey, if you like, into mental health. And I've been inspired by a few people over the years, and being able to work with very vulnerable people and try and get them back up on their feet was, a good thing for me. So I enjoy working. Some people don't enjoy working. Some people have actually got to the stage where they've become a little bit disillusioned with their organisation, say, for instance, or disillusioned with the system. And what I'm looking for is for people that actually feel satisfied with the role. This isn't going to be a channel for political views or complaining about organisations and things like that. I don't think we should do that. I think we should just focus on ourselves, take care of ourselves, be the person or be the change you want to see at work, and just instigate that, have the courage to instigate that. So what gives you satisfaction at work? What advice would you give to a student that was considering mental health nursing? So look, this is a really important one, guys, because, nursing as a whole is losing its appeal. People struggle with the idea of training for 3 years and working as well normally. I myself, I was a mature student, and I had to work as well as study. And it's a hard slog. It's for 3 years, and you put your heart and soul into it. You don't just go to uni and come home and or go out and party and do whatever you're going to do. You have to come home and study normally. I would say you have to learn things that perhaps you don't know or you're not familiar with. You have to read, and you have to do all this stuff. So, what would you say to somebody that's studying? Okay, in someone in Australia, for instance, they've got to study for 3 years, then you've got to try and convince them to come over into mental health, and then they've got to study again. You've got to try and promote mental health. We've got a serious shortage of nurses, and we've been saying it for years. At some point, there's going to be this deficit, and we probably feel the pinch of that now. So with people being sick, having to replace staff, doing overtime, all these things, and this all comes down to the fact that our workforce is slowly diminishing, and we need to be able to bring on the next line of soldiers, if you like, to actually take on. It's a really stressful job. So, what would you say to a student that was considering mental health? Can you think of a challenging time that ended well, that reinforced why you're a psych nurse, right? So we all have challenges at work, but is there a time when you kind of felt, yeah, that was really, really cool. I'm glad I did what I did. If I hadn't been there, that could have been a different outcome. I'm not saying that you're the superstar of the world, or, if it wasn't for you, look at me, I'm a psych nurse. I save lives. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is a really challenging thing at work. It could be anything. And it just reinforced why you made the decision to become a psych nurse. It reinforced that, which is really cool. This is a good one. What's your thoughts on psych nurses wearing uniforms? There's a controversial subject, isn't it? We get people that say, oh, it's too institutionalized. You get other nurses or other disciplines saying it's hard to make a definition between who's who in the zoo because, unless you see the badge, you don't actually know if someone there is a patient or they're working there. And some people will say, oh, people don't want uniforms coming around to their address, or if you're out in the community, say, for instance. Me, I'm an advocate for uniforms. I think uniforms are a good idea. I think it's good to be identified as a nurse. Most people that say we're going back to institutions, few of them have actually worked in institutions. So to say it's an institution, yeah, you can compare it to something, say, I don't know, somewhere in the world where they wear these white uniforms, have got this thing that they walk around with, keys and batons and things like that. That doesn't really go. And, uniforms can be just a separate colour. It can be just a larger version of your badge, if you like. So, that's my opinion anyway. You might be like totally against it and think, no, I wouldn't wear a uniform because of this. But anyway, give us your view. What do you think? What do you think if psych nurses wear uniforms? Okay, what do you think about the common phrase, I just mentioned this a second ago, you only know the difference between a psych nurse. The only difference between a psych nurse and their patients is the badge. That's actually a common statement. I didn't realise that it was a common statement because nobody ever said it to me. But my partner, who's a medical and psych nurse, she works with lots of medical people, and they actually say that about us guys. Is that true? I don't know. Anyway, so, what do you think about that statement? I don't know what to think about that statement. I don't know whether they're sticking us in some sort of stereotype that isn't real about mental health patients, or they're saying that we look disorganised or psychotic, or I don't know. Maybe it's something we need to look at in our workplace, eh? Anyway. And then the final question would be, give me a reason not to choose psych nursing as a career. Give me a reason not to. I'm sure there's some days you could give 1,000 reasons. I think that's a question that needs to be, it can't all be good. Give me a reason not to. No. There is actually 10 questions. I thought there was going to be 9, but there's actually 10. So the last one is, do you prefer psychiatric nursing over mental health nursing? How would you like to be seen? Would you like to be seen as a psychiatric nurse or a mental health nurse? Probably a very loose question there. You're probably thinking, well, I don't really care. But think about it. Think about what those words mean, and think about the client group or client groups that we come into contact with. Think about it. Is it psychiatric? Is it mental health? Is it situational? So psychiatry suggests that it's an Access 1 diagnosis. Do we even use that word anymore? I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Is it an Access 1 diagnosis, or is it somebody does psychiatric nurse cover people that have got got drugs on board, or drunk, or disinhibited because they're taking pills or using alcohol? I don't know. Mental health to me strikes me as would include that. Psychiatry wouldn't. But anyway, something to think about. So there's 10 questions. I'm sorry that I had to keep looking at my bit of paper, and if I look down on the screen, I'm looking in the wrong place. I just forget where the camera is, and it sits right up the top here. So sometimes I just forget where it is. I get caught up in my thoughts. So yeah, think about it. If you feel you're happy to talk to me online and record the conversation, what I'll do is I will edit it so that, if you absolutely stick your finger up your nose or something like that and you don't like that in there, I can take that bit out, or I'll show you it, and if you're happy with it, we'll go ahead with it and publish it. Anyway, let me know. Take care, psych nurses. Have a good day. Enjoy your job. It's where you spend a lot of your life. And I'm getting ready for work soon. Actually, I'm on a late tonight, so I'm doing 2 till 10. It's a mixture of home visits and crisis and all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to go work, and that's why I haven't had a shave, and that's why I look a bit rough. Been to the gym. Anyway, I'm babbling now. Take care. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you again soon.